Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Muhammad Kadash, double honor to the elders and apostles, of great millstone, many blessings and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the house of David, the Bayaf that would die for whom these epistles are written for these last days. Shalom to the elect. Let me turn that off. So I wanted to go into this article and play a quick video. This is not gonna be a long lesson, but just going into the spirit, because literally as I was searching, for topics to bring out to the body, I was I got a notification from the apostle Tahar, and he he uploaded literally what I was about to bring out, which is this going into the draft, and I've been talking about it for the last few camps, but the spirit is obviously wanting the strong possibility at this point is pretty inevitability of an American draft coming to fruition and very soon. And so that has a lot of people that voted for Trump or didn't vote for Trump very nervous, especially the moms of these 17 and 18-year-old boys. But see, here's the thing. It's not going to just be 17-year-old and 18-year-old boys. It's going to be all men of all ages at one point, at some point. And we're getting close to that point because this is going into a regional war. It's going to become a world war. It's already a regional war. Lebanon's getting hit. The United Arab Emirates is getting hit. Parts of, I believe Jordan. I'm not sure. I have to double check that. But there's a lot of nations that are surrounds Iran that are getting hit because they have American bases there. And so now Russia and China, okay, because apparently Iran has instructed their battleships to only attack those that are not of Russian Chinese battleships as far as fuel coming through. And so now the rest of the world is feeling that pinch, and you brothers and sisters, I'm sure you see it at the gas pump like I do. And guess what? It's only going to get worse. And now we're getting into the part where the draft is going to be on the table. Donald Trump won't even take it off anyway, because it never was going to be off. It says Trump has, and even for you women, let me be very, very clear. A lot of you women who are single, childless, y'all going on the front lines, okay? So it's gonna be a lot of sex leading up to World War III. There's gonna be a lot of sex. Future is gonna get it in. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of pregnant women pretty soon, so they don't have to get in that war. Even the ones that's in the military right now, they're gonna pop up pregnant some kind of way. This is going to be the end of this kingdom. All right. So I pray that this is edifying. It says Trump has not ruled out a U.S. military draft amid Iran war. It says Press Secretary keeps his options on the table. We get into crunch time. We're in that. Look, I did a video on the doomsday clock. Man, maybe 80 seconds from midnight. Okay, this thing's getting ready to go down. The fact that you got World War III basically already kicked off, and now you officially have your president who's in power, okay, for at least another couple of years. All right, this thing is, hey, call lawyer how about Shemal Shai. We couldn't have prayed for a better start of his presidency. Okay, we know that Joe Biden, either one, it wouldn't have mattered. Joe Biden would have did this or some kind of way. He would have got us to this point. But Donald Trump has done so much. Hey, I want to say the water how about Shemal Shai for creating this devil and allowing him to do exactly what he's doing, because he's getting us closer to what we are trying to achieve, which is the destruction of Babylon the Great. And then we'll be able to go back home and actually rest. And we will make you Edomites and the rest of the nations, you will build up our nation. and we're going to have a prosperous kingdom that will be forever and ever and ever, led by our Lord and Savior, our Redeemer. Okay, the kinsman Redeemer himself, which is Yahweh Shai, which you ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Okay, it says the White House Rapid Response Team denied plans for a military draft. She didn't say anything close to this. You just made it up. Yeah, whatever. Bullshit. It says White House. Yeah, we already know that. So just giving you the bulletin points. It says Donald Trump is keeping his options on the table amid the escalating conflict in Iran, according to White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt. The 79-year-old president launched an air assault against the Middle Eastern country on February 28th. Since then, he worked in tandem with Israel in what he says is a military effort intended to bring about regime change and eliminate the country's ability to develop nuclear weapons. I wonder what Tulsi Gabbard has to say about this. The newly found Republican that used to be a Democrat that literally ran on no regime change. I wonder what she has to say. She's in this administration. That just lets you know these people have no power. All wars are bankers' wars. We all know that. Okay, and at this point, the bankers are getting filthy, stinking rich. Okay, at the prospects of another war, especially a world war. They made so much money. Okay, and they're about to make a shit ton now. All right. Meanwhile, you Americans, you're gonna go back to your factory jobs, okay, and you're gonna have to produce weaponry to produce for the country, okay, with major tariffs, because most of your shit is built that you got is from China, and they ain't fucking with you because they want to invade Taiwan themselves. It says. It says in a Saturday, March 7th post on Truth Social, Trump said Iran was being beat to hell. It says during a Sunday, March 8th appearance on the Fox News, it says Levitt said that for the moment, the strikes against Iran will continue to be focused on an air campaign. For Fox News anchor Maria Bartiromo asked Levitt for her response to the concern that moms are worried we're going to have a draft. You goddamn right we're going to have a draft. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and you bet you shouldn't even be worried about your sons. You should be worried about yourself. Okay, because it's going to get so bad and they're going to lose so many numbers. It's only at 7 now. But that number's going to skyrocket when this thing for real kick off. So you worried about your sons. You need to be worried about your daughters and yourself. Because, hey, the Lord's going to have it. He's going to put a thought in Trump's mind. I'm talking about Yahweh. Yahweh's going to put a thought in Trump's mind to draft any available bodies, period. That means all you Instagram baddies, you average bad bitches, okay? All y'all gonna have to pick up that Army issued standard M16, okay? All right, and you gonna have to say repeat the line after me: 1 shot, 1 kill, okay? You gonna have to do that, okay? You're gonna have to stand in line to get your standard issue BDUs, and you're gonna have to get your ass out there on that front line. Some of y'all will have to be med vax. Okay, you're gonna have to, sew them limbs back together. Okay, you're gonna have to. A soldier gets his leg blown off. You're gonna have to, you're gonna have to put pressure on the wound. Okay, you're gonna have to wrap it real tight. Use your turnkey, your military turnkey. Okay, and you're gonna have to help hobble his ass back to the med tent. Okay, you're gonna have to do this. Okay. All right, for some of you cooks, you're gonna have to, go on that, you have to cook that gruel, whatever, that MRI, okay, with all that salt and shit in it. All right, hey, this is the reality. I'm just giving you the reality of the situation that America faces right now. Okay, and there was no there was no devising or waiting or moving around this. Okay, this was inevitable. It was going to happen because the Lord said for the bloodshed. Matter of fact, let's get that. Let's get that. Okay, slide. It was inevitable that you would have to do this. Okay, because blood pursued you. You are the people that he wants to destroy. So this is your country, and he doesn't want you to have a city with your name on it ever again in the earth. This is biblically speaking. This is Nahum 3:1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." I'm gonna jump down to 3. This is Nahum 3:3. It says, "The horseman lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses." And that's what's going to happen to the military. I have relatives in the military right now that I care very deeply for, but does that take my mind or my eye off the ball? Hell no. They were warned. They know what I'm into. I'm sure, especially I have a brother who's in the military. I have cousins who in the military. You don't think they talk? Oh, such and such. He into that Bible stuff. He think he an Israelite. You don't think they know? They all talk. They probably watch the videos too. But again, pride comes before the fall. You think you on some level? Okay. The Lord will give you over to that. All right. Verse 4, it says, "Because of the multitudes of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame." That's right. And how's he going to show? He's going to show all the the PDF file things you guys do. He's already doing that with the Epstein files. Also, fair use, fair use, fair use. By the way, fair use, fair use. I'm going to play this video from Breaking Points. Breaking Points is a good platform, good information, especially they've been on lately. They put that so-called Chinese dude on, right? He's a Moabite, but they put that so-called Chinese dude on, and he was like, "Yeah, America's going to lose this war." So I guess he's like their monthly prognosticator. That's what they call it, right? Anyway, so you should check out Breaking Points if you want to watch the entire video. It says, "Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and will make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock." And what is America right now? What is America perceived right now in the world? It was already perceived poorly for at least the last 40 years. Well, I'll take that back. At least for the last 35 years, it's been perceived poorly around the world. Now, here at home, they got polls that are saying that they would rather be anywhere else but America. And what is that going to lead to? That's going to lead to disdain. So that's going to be hard to recruit a population that hates your own country. And that's why the draft is going to be essential to make these people fight for the country that they so-called love. Even though you hate the policies, you hate the president, you're going to still fight because the Lord is going to put the spirit on Donald Trump to make you fight. And you will fight. Okay? Verse 7, it says, "And it shall come to pass that all they that looked upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste." That's what that's what the Americans have said. They're fleeing. They trying to get the fuck on anywhere they can, especially if you're of age. But like I was saying, the draft is going to be where they're not gonna give a fuck about your age or your health. They're gonna stick your ass with an army issued BDU, okay, and a Kevlar, all right, and vest, and they're gonna stick your ass out with some thick ass boots, Okay, they can't be penetrated by a fucking nuke, it seems like. But anyway, also they gonna stick your ass out there with an army issued M16. Okay, and they're gonna tell you get to work. Okay. It says, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? That's right. And that's what this is talking about Nineveh in a sense, but through the Spirit is talking about America today. Nobody's going to bemoan, not even the citizens of America. That's why when the nukes drop, ain't nobody going to give a fuck. When they drop these nukes on America, they not going to care. They not going to care. They going to be like, yo, what? Fuck this. Fuck that whore. Burn her. And the Lord's going to be with every missile shot. I'm telling you, every missile shot, the Lord's going to be with. It says it in the Bible. People don't want to believe it. I don't care. Neither brothers who believe this truth don't care, neither. We laugh at y'all. You know why? Because you're under some misguided attempt to try to stop the inevitable. All we're doing is forecasting the event. That's all we're doing. You might not like the words. You might even not like the way we present it. We might say fuck, shit, motherfucker. We might say all that. The point still remains. The truth still remains. What's going to happen to America? And how does it correlate with the Bible? Everything. Okay? Because America is tied to our redemption as Israelites back into the Holy Land that belongs to us. America's destruction is our rise. Okay? So we have betting interest in this. Of course, absolutely. Are we gonna go out and do anything? Hell no. I'm not doing nothing but sitting back and forecasting it for the brothers and sisters that are in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. And that is the it. Okay? And it shall come to pass that all that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? And you won't, and you can't. So everyone who's going over into the Middle East, whether willingly or unwillingly, you are going to die. Simple as that. I'm not gonna cut corners with you. You fight in the military, or even if you somehow survive, you still got to deal with Yahweh Shai. And you guaranteed to die then. Okay? If you somehow survived or escaped or whatever the hell you did, or went AWOL, you still gonna die if you're one of the elect. Okay? Now, let me reference that. There might be some of the elect in the military, and they may be spared. Okay? But for the rest of you, if you're not of the elect, you will be destroyed. Simple as that. All right? Back in the article, it says, the press secretary said a draft wasn't currently being discussed. That don't mean it is not off the table. It says President Trump wisely does not remove options off the table. It says, I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation, said Bartiromo. She told Bartiromo. It says, Levitt continued adding, it's not part of the current plan right now, but the president again wisely keeps his options on the table. As commander-in-chief, there is no greater priority or responsibility to the president than, of course, protecting the American people and our troops and bases in the Middle East, which Iran has been threatening for 47 years. But you bombed them for anyway. It says they have killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers, she said. Yeah, Trump, Levitt added, was not going to allow Iran to attack our bases and our troops and our men and women in the Middle East first. It says, and that's why he took historic action by launching Operation Epic Fury. The White House's rapid response team was quick to say that Levitt's words were misunderstood, writing on X in response to a user who posted Trump might institute a draft. She didn't She didn't say anything close to that. This you made it up. No, no, no. See, there's what she said, and then there's implications. She implied there's a chance, and even if there's a chance, there's a chance. And even if it doesn't sound like they don't say it's a chance, it's a chance. Trust me when I tell you, you're going in the draft. You're gonna fight. Women are worried about their daughters and sons. You need to be worried about yourself, sweetheart. You going in the war too, especially all you single, independent. I don't need no nigga. Women. They gonna ship the black woman first. She gonna be the first one to go, okay? And then slowly but surely gonna get to you white women. And then they're gonna get to the women with children. They don't give a shit if you pregnant. They wouldn't care. Can you hold a M16, a standard issue M16? Can you hold it? Do you know how to press the button? It's gonna get desperate. This is gonna be 12, 15,000 times worse than Iran or Iraq. Because now you gotta deal with Russia and China at the same time. Okay, with superior artillery and ambitious goals to take you out of power, take you down a peg. Okay, that's why I brought out Nahum 3. But see, here's the thing: the people who you need to fight don't want to fight on behalf of America, which is ironic and it makes sense at the same time. This is Jeremiah 51:28. It says, prepare against her nations. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, which is the Russians. Okay? It says the captains thereof and all the rulers thereof and all the land of his dominion, which is all the other nations that are going to come with him, led by China, Iran, South America, or basically all of South America. Venezuela, they definitely want to get down. Okay? It says, and the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. Woo, let's read that again. Jeremiah 51:29, it says, and the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon. He raising up all these other nations against you. That's how much the Lord hates you. So when you say God loves everybody, please, please, please show that in the Bible and not out of your fucking faint ass heart, man. Okay? We talking facts around here, not feelings. All right? It says to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. What does that mean? That means nukes are gonna fly. Okay? That means that Lord is going to commission these other nations to take you out militarily. Okay? Verse 30, it says, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. And that's what's happening. All these video game streamers, Hassan Piker, all these guys ain't going to want to get out and fucking fight for America. They gonna flee to China and denounce America. They're gonna denounce their citizenship, man. Watch. But then that's when America catch on to what they doing. They gonna lock down them airports. Ain't no escape. Okay? You ain't gonna they gonna lock them borders too. That's when them borders gonna be for real locked down. Gonna lock your ass in here and give you a standard issue M16. Alright, it says, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. It says, their might have failed. They became as women. Woo! Let's read that again. Their might hath failed. They became as women. Oof! Imagine a woman trapped, screaming, yelling, help! It says, they have burned their dwelling places. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that this city is taken at one end. Woo! Listen. Truth of the matter is, they see the they see the fall of this place. They see it happen in real time. Okay, they're not ignorant of the fact that this is the end. That's why there you can see the anger in Sagar and Crystal's face, man, because they're angry because this is their kingdom. Okay, now Sagar, he could just go back to East India or to India. You know, you better do it soon though, because this thing, his ass gonna be on the front line. Okay, with a standard issue BDU and standard issue M16. Okay, one shot, one kill. Okay, you gonna have to do that. Or if you don't, all right, they're gonna throw your ass in jail for treason. Okay. Hey, call on Yahweh Shema Shai. All praise to the Most High, man. He's making it possible for us to see the end of our captivity. And we don't give a fuck if you don't like the tone of our delivery. We don't give a fuck if you don't like, and I'm just being completely honest. We're at the end. You got to get over words. You need to listen to the message. Okay? Okay, though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge. Okay, yeah, I can temper it more with a little honey. Okay, I'll give you that. But right now, this is exciting news, and if you're not in the spirit, what time are you gonna be in the spirit? Okay, because right now this is the end of our captivity, and you need to act like it. All right. So without any further ado, I want to play this video from Sagar and Crystal. They got a good channel, man. I like to use the channel sometimes for references, accordance, and this is fair use, fair use, fair use. We're just using this for educational purposes of learning about the world through war.
They're trying to meme this into existence. It's some of the worst aspects of like 2003, rah-rah Americanism, which South Park used to do such a good job of parodying. But to show how insane things are in the White House, they will not even rule out a draft, okay? Everything is like Iron Man, Tropic Thunder. Like they're trying to meme this into existence. It's some of the worst aspects of like 2003, rah-rah Americanism, which South Park used to do such a good job of parodying. But to show how insane things are in the White House, they will not even rule out a draft, okay? So A5, let's take a listen.
Mothers out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now.
It has been, and it will continue to be, and President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table.
This thing right here, God sent. When I saw it on the TikTok shop, I grabbed it immediately.
You better use
Table.
that.
Wisely keeping
You better use that trade in for M16.
his options on the table for a draft. I mean, it's first of all, politics-wise, think about that. That's going to rocket to every mom of a 17-year-old in the entire country.
All these young men who voted for Trump.
All these young men who voted for Trump. I mean, I have no words. By the way, I mean, I've given you my counterintuitive take. I support a draft for exactly this reason. I'm like, hey, if you want to send America's sons and daughters to the war, the whole population better be bought in, or people should riot over the
Send Barron first, and then we'll follow.
In the First World War, the Prime Minister of the UK, his son was killed on the front line. The entire highest echelon of society, all of their sons were killed and actually thrown into combat, not some rear action. And that showed that the society as a whole was actually into the war. And I'm saying the war was good, but that's the last time that we've ever seen anything like that. From that point forward, the elite of the elite, they always get in the rear echelon. And of course, since Vietnam in particular, the way we got around that one is all poor, young, black and white men are the people who went and fought and died.
And it's not going to be any different, y'all. Okay? It's not going to be any different this time. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are going to be on the front line of this war. And 2/3 are scheduled to get put to death. All right? 2/3 are going to get put to death in many different ways. I personally believe a lot of you are going to be over in the Middle East. But The majority is gonna be here when them nukes are here. Okay, when them nukes start flying, 2/3 definitely gonna get. That's gonna be it. All right, like Michael Jackson's last concert. This is it. Okay, that's what's gonna be it. All right, them nukes is gonna fly, and we'll holler at you. We going to the kingdom, Lord willing. I'm a part of that number. I don't want Ratazar, right? So I'll play a little bit of the rest of this video, and we'll get out of here.
In the war. Same thing, unfortunately, happened with the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. The all-volunteer military force, they have primarily targeted. I mean, look, there's a military culture in the South and a lot of these working-class communities literally across America, and they're the ones who predominantly suffered while people like me, got to go to college. It's shameful, actually, that they're allowed to perpetuate something like this.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter's a senior in high school. The recruiters are at the high school all the time, and who is interested in that? The people who, they're not on the college track. They're looking at the economy. This is a way to be able to have a stable job, and next thing you know, you're being sent off to fight some war for Israel in the Middle East. I just want to drill down a little bit on why there is increasing likelihood, if not certainty, that U.S. ground troops are going to be on the ground, because, I think part of why we are in this place at this point, and Professor Pape has been doing a lot of this analysis and predicting this for a while, which is why it's worth listening to what he says, is, you are not going to be able to accomplish either a regime change or destroying the nuclear material from the air. So, in Iraq, it took a year of searching the country to figure out there were no WMD. Okay, so you are not going to be able to figure out where it is. You are not going to be able to bomb it into oblivion or have confidence that you've bombed it into oblivion without being there on the ground. So option number one is you fail, right? Trump tacos, that's what I'm hoping for. Trump tacos said...
That's what they hope for, but that's not what's going to happen. So I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Mahara Kakadash, Shalom to the elect.